Absolute Restoration, our team will feel magical since our focus is on serving you and your roofing needs.
Finding a roofer who actually shows up and communicates, that's just one of the problems we solve by informing you of every step in the process.
Selling premium roofing systems backed by warranties and payment plans starting at just $99 per month. Trust Absolute Restoration to deliver.
Experience unicorn-level service and affordability from a team your community trusts. Call Absolute Restoration today.
Mississippi's trusted weather experts. This is Mississippi Live Weather at 6.
Welcome into Mississippi Live Weather at 6. I'm Chief Meteorologist Matt Lawpond here, and we are dealing with a hot day that is going to continue to probably be talking about some heat the next couple of days. Some of the main headlines we have going forward from the Room to Room Weather Center over the next couple of days. This evening, as you can see, we're at 92 degrees, that temperature there at 7 p.m. 82s we look toward 10, 78 by 11 o'clock, and then gradually back in the mid-70s by the first part of early morning on your Tuesday. Again, normal this time of year, the 30-year average this time of year should be low 90s, so way above that. One of the big headlines we're tracking here in the Room to Room Weather Center with this pattern over the course of the next couple of days. Outside right now in 8 to 10 at this time, 95 degrees current temperature. That feels like temperature coming in 104 and just no clouds in the sky. The glossiness you see here, a reminder that there's some spider webs pretty close to that camera over top. We need some rain to knock that down. I'm sure you take it at your house as well. A lot of us, despite the fact that we had some chances around end of last week and over the weekend, still needing a lot more meaningful rainfall before we get things kind of neutralized there. 95 also current temperature in Greenville. It's 108 for that feels like temperature. Greenville, one of those locations where we are under one of those extreme heat warnings. Many locations under those, unfortunately, and probably again for tomorrow, likely to find ourselves under that threshold. Outside in Kosciuszko, again, we had one of those showers last hour. You can't make anything out there as that's moved far enough away. 93 where those temperatures have recovered to, 99 what it feels like even as of the 6 o'clock hour here. So in more detail, again, Pontotoc, again, similar shot, clear, 95, and all those rain chances out of here feels like 102 at this time. Looking at the latest on Mississippi Live Weather Radar, there is nothing out there at this point in time of any kind of significance over the last couple of hours. Any of the light showers have moved out. You might also notice here, just kind of looking at this, the general overall wind direction kind of out of kind of a northeasterly direction, all the bugs and things being drawn that way. And again, this is a direction that brings us drier air, and it's part of the reason why we're just struggling to bring some rain chances in when we have these kind of northeasterly sort of winds. It remains to be seen the extent to which Aaron is going to modify our forecast next couple of days. It is the main weather feature across the region, across the U.S. that we're watching very closely. And of course, on the much wider shot here, let's get a much wider perspective on kind of what's going on across the southeast. We'd have mainly rain chances down in the southern part of the state. If we kind of kick it over to our shot here, you can see, again, all the way from Atlanta to Montgomery, Alabama. Again, this just general overall pattern with winds moving out of the northeast back toward around the south and west. We'll bring this and check out, again, one of the main factors, again, is we check out our water vapor here on our satellite perspective, and I'll make this a longer loop, kind of does a kind of better job telling the overall tale here. Again, this is that drier air back toward the north and east. You can kind of see it even the mid-levels of the atmosphere there. So not a pattern that's particularly impressive when it comes to producing meaningful amounts of precipitation. But obviously, there's a major mass of moisture we have out here in the Atlantic. This would be Aaron. Aaron is a Category 4 hurricane of significant intensity, did reach Category 5 strength briefly over the course of the weekend. Category 4 strength at this point here. Try changing our satellite perspective. It might be a little easier to kind of pick it out, but you can see the moisture as it's gradually turning northward. We're interested to see, it does look like this front that we have kind of coming in from the northwest up there toward Virginia, associated with the trough of low pressure, will kind of drive this to kind of pull more in a northerly direction over the next couple of days. So some things kind of working to our advantage, or certainly to the advantage of the locations there out on the East Coast to try to keep this and make this be less of a factor for them. There are some advisories out for the Outer Banks there of North Carolina. A meteorologist, Gabe Maynor, will look at that more detail coming up here in a minute. As we kind of bring things back in here to the lower 48 and kind of straighten things up a little bit, we do have a front back to the north and west. That front is, again, not associated with a big drop in temperatures, but at least somewhat of a drop in temperatures there. We look at the temperature map, and you can see behind it some of the yellows versus the kind of reds that we sort of have in advance, kind of to change the tilt here so we can get it all on at the same time. But an example of how cool or maybe not cool it is back there, you can see we do have a lot of 70s showing up. We'll see if I can bring this into the latest scan here. There we go. And now we'll put on some of those temperatures back behind it. And again, some 80s out there for a lot of locations versus 80s in advance. Obviously, we are a lot hotter than that. So there is at least a repository of somewhat cooler air trying to make its way toward us. But I think when you look at the moisture there, again, that's another sign that, again, this is not a hugely impactful front, that we're obviously hoping for some big things with it as it gets closer. And Gabe will be looking at more detail here in a minute. So here's a look at Futurecast. Again, that front gradually heading toward us. In general, across the Magnolia State and back toward Arkansas and Louisiana, there's just not a lot of activity out there again this evening on those northeasterly sort of surface breezes. So again, over the next couple of hours here, continue to watch again the drier conditions come in, cloud cover gradually settling in, as well as in general, again, the driest conditions, a large part of the story going forward. So unfortunately, rain chances are not terribly impressive for tomorrow. We're 75 at 6 a.m., 84 degrees by 9 a.m. By noontime, we're looking around 93 and probably 99 degrees at 3 p.m. Again, normal this time of year in the neighborhood of around 93. So yeah, way above that with rain chances remaining still limited. We'll look at Futurecast in a minute. It is optimistic in comparison to what some other projections are showing. So here's hoping. But again, it's going to take, I think, something very significant before we see a drastic shift in this pattern. Coming up here in 60 seconds, we'll look in more detail at just where some of those rain chances will be popping up. And we're, of course, diving much deeper into the tropics ahead as Mississippi Live Weather at 6 continues from the Room to Room Weather Center in a couple of moments.
As a nurse, I've seen a lot of people with sleep deprivation. It affects their job, their home life. At Room to Room, we want to take the guesswork out of buying a mattress, and that's why we brought in this technology. It shows you what you need. We want to do the assessment and find exactly what's perfect for you.
Hear that? That's the sound of your life. But every time you drive after drinking, the music gets drowned out. Buzz driving is drunk driving.
Your family deserves the most beautiful smile possible. At Tupelo Smiles, we use precision dentistry and advanced technology to make visiting the dentist an amazing experience. Relationship-based comprehensive care. Come discover the difference at Tupelo Smiles.
Well, welcome back into the Room to Room Weather Center for Mississippi Live Weather at 6. What we're going to be walking through first is just some of your Weather Watcher pictures out in the field. Justin submitted this yesterday along Highway 6, and a great shot of the rain showers. I mean, honestly, something the Lord blessed us with for sure. But he also pinpointed the exact accuracy with it. And this was just a great forecast showcasing the Mississippi Live Weather app and the accessibility of it. 442 showcased those showers there. Towards, let's see, that would be Lafayette County, moving into Pontotoc County. So if you want that accurate forecast, if you want what's happening right over the top of you, Mississippi Live Weather app submits all of that and gives you all the latest information. So big thank you to Justin for submitting that, but just a big thank you to you guys once again for supporting us and making this dream a reality. Let's take a look outside in Smithville. 95 feeling like 102, and those sun rays that are moving in. Kayla called them over the weekend glories. I'm definitely pleading to God to get some cooler air and a few of those showers. But yeah, just some of those glories shining on through. It's just a great sign of that sunshine. So beautiful forecast if you can stay cool in the process. Starkville, speaking of Caleb, 95, feeling like 104. So just a few shots of some isolated cloud cover, but overall the blue skies prevailing. That's what we're seeing here across North Mississippi, no matter where you are. Speaking of Winona, blue skies, blue as can be over there, 99, feeling like 106. So those heat advisories, extreme heat warnings that were in place today, well, they will continue in that forecast, especially if we continue to see conditions like this. Our last look there in Batesville, Panola County showcasing 104 degrees feels like values. So, hey, 2-degree difference. We'll take what we can get. Some areas a little bit more blessed than others, but it really does not matter on that temperature forecast because you're seeing 95 Tupelo, 98 in Union County there towards New Albany, 95 in Boonville, and I don't see 100, so we are trending better over the last hour. 99 in Clarksdale is the local high temperature across the region. Feels like values you can see. I mean, we're still in the triple digits, and we'll probably still be in the triple digits for some locations, even by, let's say, 8, 9 o'clock. That sun starting to set will draw us back just a bit, but unfortunately, that heat is continuing to be the story. Looking at those heat advisories, still in place until Tuesday at 8 p.m., so already getting extended into the next 24 hours. Same thing with these extreme heat warnings. You can see in effect Tuesday, 8 p.m. For basically the entire Mississippi Delta. So make sure to have those water bottles handy. And of course, make the air conditioner your friend. You'll be glad you did, trust me. Taking a look at that forecast for your school day forecast, drop off 76 degrees as you take those kids to school. 91 already at lunchtime, and a lot of that is due to all of that sunshine prevailing there in the sky. And 98 wrapping up the day and heading home. So make sure that your son or daughter makes sure they have a bottle of water handy because it is going to be a brutal one once again for our extended forecast. Futurecast, as Matt was talking about, isolated chances heading into our evening. A little bit optimistic there towards the northeast side of the state. Our best chances remain out there towards Belzona and Hollandale. The rest of us dry overnight. So that's how it will be continuing into the start of our Tuesday. Looking at that forecast, dry across the region, but not just dry. We're experiencing clear skies, so a beautiful forecast in that extended look. Tuesday morning, as we head out the door, though, it's going to be a beautiful sunrise. I'm just already calling it now because of how much clear skies we'll see. So get up early, get up and around if you have to or if you don't have to. And trust me, it'll be worthwhile. Low temperatures, mid to upper 70s in some parts, 77 Greenville, 77 around South Haven. So it's still going to be that hot, muggy start to the day. And with temperatures only rising from there, Futurecast throughout your Tuesday showcases a few of those isolated clouds popping up, those cumulus clouds that won't have any rainfall associated with them, but if anything, will block that sunshine out just a bit. We keep that forecast going into our Tuesday lunch hour, and that's where we get some of this cumulus cloud building in a little bit more. It's by the afternoon when we see some of these rain chances moving in. And Matt mentioned the word optimistic, and that's exactly how we're going to describe these rain chances. Because yes, a few of these isolated should pop up. A few of those could be some brief heavy downpours. Are we seeing this much widespread activity? No. I mean, with a northeast wind moving in right now, it'll take a shift coming in from the south that would blow in some of that Gulf moisture. Not really expecting that right now. Not very high on those rain chances. So it's unfortunate because we do want that rainfall. And hey, if this were to completely change in the next 24 hours, then we're all here for it. But that limited activity will provide some of that rain-cooled relief for some across North Mississippi. High temperatures, triple digits once again forecasted. 100 in Bruce, 100 in Water Valley, 102 Greenwood, Belzona, Greenville, Clarksdale. I mean, I need to look at the high temperatures, the record high temperatures out there, because I feel like we're getting closer and closer because of how hot these temperatures are. Even Tupelo coming in with 99, and some of those will vary in some locations that weren't showing triple digits. Definitely could see that bumped up a degree or two into the next 24 hours. Heat indices 105 plus, so heat advisories still in place and heat warnings, like we talked about, still in place for that. Now, looking at Futurecast into our Tuesday evening, stays on the drier side. That's why we're not very high on those rain chances. You still see those winds ever so slightly blowing in out of the north. That has that drier continental air associated with it. So Wednesday morning, still heading out the door to dry conditions. But look at what blows in. It'll primarily be towards that late morning on our Wednesday. So I spoke a little too soon. There we go. By noontime on our Wednesday, this front starts to push in, and with the heating of the afternoon, as well as that Gulf moisture being brought in just a bit to the north side of the state, this frontal boundary will act as a lifting mechanism for some of these showers and storms to occur. These are going to be our best chances of seeing rainfall in that extended forecast because we finally have a forcing mechanism associated with it. And you can see the line of activity back behind it. So it's going to be, I'm not going to say complete washout, but it's our best chance at getting some of those washout conditions for our Wednesday evening. So heading out to church, make sure to have that umbrella ready. But just be grateful that we're getting some of those showers because we desperately need it here in North Mississippi. Now that front does linger into our Thursday, keeping those rain chances around, but it's mainly going to be isolated in nature beyond that point. You can see high temperatures taking a step back. So there's that slight difference in temperatures that Matt was talking about earlier, back behind that frontal boundary, making it around 93 towards Holly Springs, 94 Iuka, 93 in Boonville, still down south, 98 Kosciuszko, and still triple digits out there in the Delta showing up. Heat indices right around that triple digit mark, but 98 Holly Springs and 99 Oxford, definitely a sight to see because it'll be at least a pushback from what we've been experiencing. 105 plus for a lot of locations still, so that's going to keep those feels like values right at that heat advisory level. So keep that hydration handy because you'll need it over the next several days despite that rain coverage moving in. So coverage Right now for Wednesday, we're about 40% just because of that frontal boundary pushing in, and that's why it's our best chance of rainfall. 30% for Thursday and Friday, that isolated in fashion for the next 2 days beyond Wednesday. That's just how long that front lingers will be a big depiction on that forecast. But looking at the next 5 days, I mean, this is just a great sight to see because this means that we have some decent chances at getting some rain cooled relief moving into that extended forecast up to 3/4 of an inch, honestly, up to an inch in some isolated locations where we get those heavy downpours to occur. So a little something to look forward to after the dry, hot day we've had. That day planner starting out in the mid 70s before climbing to 93 around noon. We top out around 99. I could have argued putting 100 on there just because we're right around that same threshold. And then we cool off overnight, 95 by 5 and 82 by 10. Isolated chances primarily towards mid to late afternoons. That's what we're watching for heading into the next 24 hours is some of that rain cooled relief. I'm not going to get it because 80% of us stay on the drier side, but that 20% gives us a little bit of hope. Better chances for Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, like I mentioned. And look at those temperatures 99 Tuesday, 97 Wednesday, and then 92 by Thursday. I'm going to take a step over to this side because this is really the sight to see. Look at Sunday into Monday, 90 degrees for your high temperature, 88 for Monday, and feeling much drier. And if that's not enough for you, look at low temperatures 71 for the start of Sunday, 68 for the start of Monday. Now, this is still 7 days out, so it can and will change, but at least gives you a little something to look forward to in that extended forecast because it's been hot, it's been dry, we need rainfall, and we need cooler weather. So we'll be watching that here coming up in the next 60 is just what to expect in that extended forecast in more detail. And of course, we're tracking Aaron and what to expect with the Category 4 storm in the Atlantic right now. Walking through all of that coming up here in the next 60 seconds. I think this got off the screen. Hang on one second.
March 24th, 2023 was a normal Friday. You know, we knew the weather was not good, but we needed to take shelter, and we didn't have shelter. My husband and almost 2-year-old daughter, Ethan and Riley, they did lose their lives in the storm. We're still recovering from it. We'll always be recovering from it. Matt Lawpon cares about the community. He's not just there to collect a paycheck. I feel like Matt Lawpon has proven himself trustworthy.
Turn it up!
Friday night, August 22nd, WWE Hall of Famer Rikishi tag teams with Memphis Wrestling to raise money for St. Jude. Join us at the Tupelo Super Show. Reserve your seat at memphiswrestling.tv.
Back when I feel like...
Well, welcome back into the Room to Room Weather Center. We're going to be walking through Aaron in a little bit more detail here at the 6 o'clock hour. Here's our last visual on Aaron as it was moving through the Atlantic. You can see the beast of a storm still having that eye in the center and some of those clouds bubbling up. You can see it on that satellite imagery of just the convective beast that Aaron is. So still at Category 4 strength. I mean, that just will continue to be around that same range as it moves a little bit more north. As Matt was mentioning, it's going to ride a frontal boundary pushing up the Atlantic coast, and that's what's going to propel it away from the central United States. So grateful for that because this is definitely a beast of a storm. You can see Aaron right there, Category 4 on your Monday afternoon, 140 miles an hour. So that 4 o'clock advisory showcasing that 140, 937, that millibar or that pressure level at the center of the storm. That's how we kind of judge the intensity of the storm is through pressure level as well as wind speed. So assessing that, let's track Aaron out as it moves up the Atlantic coast. I'm going to stand on this side so you get a better visual. Now this is on your Thursday. As you can see, just basically riding up the Atlantic coast, and it's still going to be about a Category 4 there for Tuesday afternoon. Wednesday afternoon drops back to a Category 3, but there's your threshold that we're watching is going to be as it moves up that North Carolina and Virginia coastline, just what strength is it at and how close does it move inland? We're walking through that as we head into our Thursday morning and Thursday afternoon, so definitely a lot to talk about over the next 72 hours or so. Now beyond that, it starts to move up the Atlantic, or should I say the northern Atlantic coast, Category 2 there by Friday, and then Category 1 just basically hugging that Canadian coastline, so staying away from North Mississippi, fortunately, but that is also giving too close of a call there towards the North Carolina area. Now looking at one of our long track models, it kind of showcases that in a little bit more detail. You can see right here, this is one of our jet stream graphics that kind of showcases our wind speed, it showcases the precipitation, it showcases a lot of elements. So this kind of encompasses it in one. You can see Tuesday evening, that's basically staying out away from the Atlantic coast of Florida and starts to steer a little bit more northeast. Now, as this does that, we basically have this trough that's going to drive this forecast. See that trough right there? So as we can see, that frontal boundary will carry that development, that tropical development and Hurricane Aaron up the Atlantic coast and propel it away, moving it northeast at this point. So never making it fully inland. That's what we expect to happen on this extended forecast, but at least getting close enough to have some of that surge to reach inland just a bit, and some of those higher waves, and of course some of those intense winds as well. So that's the unfortunate part about it, is it's getting close enough to be at least impactful, but fortunately not moving fully inland to where we see the damaging effects from it. So as it continues to move northeast, that's where we expect it to remain, far away from us here in North Mississippi. But then our focus shifts to a whole other storm. And I'm going to push this back down south because you can see it right there, basically moving into the Cuban area, the Caribbean. It's that development right there. And currently it's at about a 60% development, but we'll walk through that here in just a moment. But you can see it start to intensify over San Juan there towards, I believe that's Puerto Rico, and towards Cuba. That's shifting west, and it is, some models are having it get relatively close, too close for comfort. And I want to say with that, long track models usually are going to change. You saw with Aaron earlier, it had it moving into the Gulf right here towards Mississippi. Unfortunately, it did not happen. So that shows you that models will change. So some of those pages that are out there that's going to post these tracks, don't listen to them. Just wait on that to actually develop. And of course, we'll walk you through that in detail heading into that extended forecast. And speaking of, I'm going to take a step over just a bit to showcase that we do have that medium level risk, that 60% chance of development over the next 7 days, 10% chance over the next 2. That is increased from what it was even 24 hours ago that our meteorologist Caleb Edelblut was walking us through. So paying attention to that development as it moves closer to the United States, just what it reaches and how much energy is left after a dominant storm has moved through that area. So fortunately, not expecting anything over the next 48 and not expecting anything in that extended forecast just yet. It will remain to be seen what our American models and our European models kind of verify on that forecast. Day planner, 92 around 7, 82 around 10, 78 by 1. You might notice no tropical moisture, no moisture altogether because of how dry that forecast is. Still going to be hot. So make sure to stay hydrated and, of course, stay cool in that extended forecast. And we'll, of course, be walking you through that forecast in detail coming up on Mississippi Live Weather at 10. We thank you guys so much for joining us tonight, and we hope that you have a fantastic evening. And, of course, stay cool.
Okay.
Okay.
So real quick, need to come clean. I messed up something with our, hold on. And my little gizmo here is trying to concentrate. It's like, we want to focus on you now. Okay. So we had an issue where I messed up the microphones right before the 6 o'clock broadcast. We're doing this done the whole thing live off my phone, believe it or not. So that's our secret. No, I think it's more entertaining this way. Let people know behind the scenes. Someone's like, your shot's a little wide. Well, here's why. And they were nice about it. But that's the reason why. And I thought about once we got into it, we could have made it a much more interesting show, just doing the whole thing kind of like. That was cool at the end. The ability to kind of do the Steadicam thing. It is, And so one of the other things we wanted to show you, someone was asking about the cows, right? And we showed a little video of this as well. Like, you can show us the cow? Let's show you the cow. So our system was set up to where, basically it takes one of the monitors of a Xilium monitor output here to kind of show what's going on. So as soon as I, see that up there on the screen? As soon as I kind of mouse over on the browser, right? Any other browser, it's like, wait a second, I want to show you the desktop. I don't know why, because I guess it shows where the exact one of my 17 browsers is located on that. And so when it does that, it clears off all the rest. Anyway, point of the story, there's your cow.
Still need a name for it.
Interrupting cow. I think that's what we'll call it. So anyway, well, that kind of concludes our, well, maybe normal for y'all, but crazy show behind the scenes for Gabe and I. Gabe will have the latest on everything coming up at 10 o'clock. Mississippi Live Weather, of course, latest on Aaron.
Category 4, moving north and staying away from North Mississippi.
Okay, hopefully, obviously, maybe we can kick in as much time as possible before we have to deal with the next one of these. Hey, by the way, we're going to show you when the next newscasts are up. I don't think the audio is going to stay up for that, so we'll hit it here in a second, and then we will see you come up at 10 o'clock. Appreciate it.
see a teen struggling to find his way. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we see a teen gaining the confidence and skills to land his first job. Kids today need people to see their potential and help them achieve it. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we do whatever it takes to help kids succeed. Because when we see young people, we see limitless possibilities. Do you? Join us, Boys and Girls Clubs. Great futures.